Bill Gates is backing an insane new plan to block out the sun. And if that happens, Florida is in serious trouble. This isn't some conspiracy theory either. They're already testing it. And if it goes wrong, it could mess with our weather, our crops, and our sunlight, even though none of us asked for it and nobody voted for it. Once this starts, there's no turning back, and now Florida lawmakers are scrambling to protect us before it's too late. In this video, I'll show you the wild new sun blocking experiment that's already underway, how it could affect Florida directly, and why our own government is spending hundreds of billions of your tax dollars to fight a problem that may not even be real. Let's jump in. Listen, this is all gonna sound like a sci-fi movie, but it's not. There's a real plan happening right now to block out the sun. I'm serious, block out the sun. There's a US startup called Make Sunsets out of California, and they've already been launching balloons into the sky filled with sulfur dioxide, a chemical meant to reflect sunlight. Their goal? Cool the Earth by spraying this stuff into the stratosphere. It's based on what happened after a big volcano like Mount Pinatubo erupted in 1991. That blast cooled the entire planet by about 0.5 degrees Celsius. Now, these guys think they could recreate that with balloons. They've run tests in places like Nevada and Mexico, but Mexico told them to knock it off because they were doing it with zero regulation. And get this, they're selling cooling credits for $10 a pop, claiming each one cancels out a ton of CO2 for a year. And people are actually buying it. But it's not just this one company. Bill Gates has been pushing this idea for years, quietly backing Harvard's solar geoengineering research program with millions in funding. At least $4.5 million since 2007. Even the Biden administration got involved, releasing a 2023 report exploring solar geoengineering. They didn't green light it, but just the fact it's being taken seriously should raise red flags. Because once this stuff goes into the sky, there's no one doing it. These particles hang around for years, and even if Florida says no way, if California or other states move forward, those particles can still drift over to us. Thanks to westerly winds, Florida could get hit with cloudier skies, less sunshine, and maybe even weird weather changes. Experts warn this could seriously backfire, messing up rainfall, triggering storms, damaging the ozone, or causing a temperature spike if they suddenly stop spraying. The UN has already said this isn't safe. Over 500 scientists, including around 100 from the US, are calling for a global ban until we understand what the heck we're doing. The worst part? Companies like Make Sunsets are just doing this on their own. There's no rules, no permission, no oversight, and that's terrifying. But it gets worse, way worse. Scientists are now saying they don't even need special aircraft to spray this stuff into the sky. They're saying they can modify regular commercial airplanes, the same ones that we all fly on, to start dumping particles like sulfur dioxide into the air. That means they don't have to build anything new. They just tweak the planes that are already flying every single day. Does that sound familiar to anybody who's looking up and seeing those long white streaks in the sky? This changes everything because now this idea doesn't need some futuristic invention to get off the ground. It could start rolling out way faster than anybody thought. And no one's asking the public about it. You won't see a vote on the ballot, they're just doing it. And this isn't just a US problem. Over in the UK, their government is already going full steam ahead with this. A group called AREA, Advanced Research and Invention Agency, is testing the exact same kind of thing right now. They're releasing sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere using massive balloons. And they're planning to use airplanes next. These tests are already underway, and if they get the results they want, they got plans to go big by 2035. And here's the crazy part. There's no international law stopping them. No global agreement, no rule book. They're just out here winging it, messing with the atmosphere like it's no big deal. And all that junk they're spraying in the sky, it doesn't just stay over the UK. Thanks to wind patterns, all that stuff can drift around the world and land right over Florida. We don't get a say, but we sure get the side effects. This thing is going global, and we're all in the blast zone, whether we want to be or not. Now, the good news is Florida just put its foot down in a big way. Governor Ron DeSantis is signing Senate Bill 56 into law, officially banning weather modification and geoengineering in this state. This new law will go into effect July 1st, and it's Florida's way of saying, you're not going to mess with our skies. The bill was pushed hard by Senator Ileana Garcia, who said people were tired of the mystery in the skies and the government sitting on its hands. After the chaos from the 2024 hurricane season, people had questions, and Garcia made sure they got answers. Now, here's what the law actually says. You can't inject, spray, or release anything into the atmosphere to try and change the weather, block the sun, or mess with the climate. Not from balloons, planes, or anything else. If you do, you're looking at a third-degree felony. That's up to 5 years in prison and fines that can hit $100,000. And if you're flying the aircraft doing it, that's another $5,000 fine right there. Florida's not playing around. And starting October 1st, 2025, all publicly owned airports must report monthly to the Florida Department of Transportation any aircraft equipped for weather modification or geoengineering. They're also setting up a hotline and an online portal so regular people can report this stuff too. See something weird? You can speak up, and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection will investigate. And if it checks out, they're gonna send over the health department or emergency management. Garcia said it best, there's no federal rule book for this, so Florida had to step up and protect its people. And honestly, I'm glad they did. This law gives Florida control over its own skies and sends a clear message. We're not going to be the testing ground for wild science experiments. I'm really hoping that with RFK Jr. now at the head of Health and Human Services and Trump in office, they can rally Congress to pass a federal law banning this sun-blocking nonsense. If that doesn't happen, then other states need to follow Florida's lead and shut it down themselves. Because if we don't stop it now, this thing's gonna spiral out of control. And here's what drives me absolutely nuts. The same people who are trying to block the sun are the ones telling us solar energy is the answer to everything. That makes zero sense. You block the sun, and guess what happens? Solar panels stop working. It's not that complicated. And on top of that, they're cutting down thousands of acres of trees across the country just to build these massive solar farms. Trees actually pull carbon out of the air. Solar panels don't. It's upside down. Here in Pinellas County, where I live, our commissioners pulled out of Duke Energy's solar program because it cost way too much and gave barely any return. So we're wasting taxpayer money to tear up green spaces, then we put up solar panels that need sunlight, and then these same people want to block the sun. Make that make sense. And now they're acting like the Earth's temperature has never changed before. That's just wrong. The Earth has been warming and cooling on its own for millions of years. Between 1600 and 1800, we had the Little Ice Age. Temperatures dropped just a few degrees, but it caused major problems. Crops failed, people starved, and the weather went nuts. So now these guys want to cool the planet on purpose. Are you kidding me? We already saw what happened when the Earth gets colder, and it's not good. If a natural cooling cycle nearly wiped out food production back then, what's going to happen when we start messing with the temperature on purpose? You can't have it both ways. Either you want more sun for solar or you want to block it. But doing both is a scam, and taxpayers are the ones stuck paying for it. So let's follow the money for a second, because this whole sun-blocking, climate-fighting operation ain't free. Right now, the world is spending about $1.3 trillion every single year trying to fight climate change. Let that sink in. And here in the US, taxpayers, yep, you and me, have shelled out somewhere between $420 billion to $490 billion since 1993 on this stuff. And Janet Yellen, the past Treasury Secretary under Biden, was saying that the world should start spending $3 trillion a year on it. That means more of your taxpayer money, our money. And for what? Maybe a chance at cooling the planet by 1 single degree over the next 25 years? That's it. And while they're out here burning through our cash, trying to cool the Earth, guess what? The Antarctic ice sheets are growing again. Growing, not melting. So if the world's supposed to be overheating like they keep screaming at us, why is one of the coldest places on Earth freezing up even more? Doesn't that make you stop and ask what's really going on here? The truth is, this whole climate industry is turning into a giant business. It's not about saving the planet anymore. It's about grants, contracts, and cash. Researchers get paid, companies rake in money selling cooling credits, politicians get applause for doing something, and regular people just keep paying the bill. Meanwhile, nothing actually gets fixed. It's all smoke and mirrors. And here's the part that's gonna sting a little bit. If it doesn't work, if it all goes south and messes up our weather or our crops, there's no refund. Nobody's gonna give us our money back or fix what gets broken. So again, we gotta ask, who's really benefiting here? Because it sure ain't us. I'm so glad Florida had the guts to stand up and say no. It makes me proud to live in a state that actually passes common sense laws to protect its people. But the rest of the country better wake up. This thing's moving fast, and once it starts, there's no hitting the brakes. There's way too much money tied up in this not to think something shady's going on. And if you're not lucky enough to live in the free state of Florida, reach out to your state rep and tell them you want a ban on weather manipulation too. We've got to push back before it's too late. And here's something they'll never say on the news. The Earth is actually 10% greener since 1980. You know why? CO2. That stuff they say is killing the planet. It's what trees, plants, and crops breathe, and nature's out here thriving on it. But unfortunately, that's not the only thing you need to be worried about in the Sunshine State. Click here to learn how China is invading Florida. China just made bold moves, and most people have no idea it's happening. From schools to cell towers, it's deeper than you think. DeSantis is fighting back, but is it enough? Click here, and I'll see you there.